What is good, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the WeSportin Podcast. It's me and Dylan back at it again, discussing NBA trade deadline. We are a little behind, but I've had some things to do, so I'm here now. We're back, and we're just gonna run through some of the big deals that happened. We thought it was gonna be one of those quiet deadlines like they usually are. There's nothing usually big that happens in the trade deadline unless like a player really just wants out. So yeah. Well, first thing we're going to do is LaMarcus Aldridge goes and signs a veteran deal to the Brooklyn Nets. Dylan, what are your thoughts on that?
All this to stop a 37-year-old guy.
Seriously?
All this to stop a 37-year-old on the Lakers.
Exactly.
They need KD, James Harden, Kyrie, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Joe Harris, GOAT legend.
Anybody becomes a free agent, and he was good in like 5 years ago. Just come to the Nets.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Next one, Heat and Rockets. Victor Oladipo goes to Miami for Avery Bradley, Kenny Olynyk, and a 2022 first-round swap pick. I think this is good for them. Oladipo has been having a really bad year. This is probably one of the worst years we've seen Oladipo since his Magic days. Him going to Miami, I don't know what that really does for them. But Miami has been underperforming a lot this season. I think we've seen that a lot. Miami has been underperforming with the loss of Jimmy Butler throughout the season, a lot of injuries. We haven't seen that kind of finals mentalities, at all that they had when they went to the finals last year. What are your thoughts on Oladipo to the Heat?
I understand both sides of it. I understand why the Heat would want Oladipo to get some more depth and actually have someone on the floor when Jimmy's not that can put up consistent points and play defense. But I also understand why the Rockets said he was having a bad year. And so the Rockets are completely rebuilding. They got rid of Harden and Westbrook, so they're completely rebuilding.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand both sides.
Yeah. So next year we're gonna go through from the Bulls and the Magic, which I think this was the biggest trade of the day actually. Chicago receives Nikolai Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu going to Chicago for Orlando receiving Otto Porter, Wendell Carter Jr. and 2 first-round picks. I think this deal was kind of a strange one. The Bulls were actually not doing as bad as people thought they were. They're in the playoff contention. They're obviously
they're in the East though.
They're in the East obviously, so that doesn't mean much to say. But Vucevic being I think around 2 to 3 time All-Star, I think him coming in there is very good for them. I think the return that they had to give up for him was a little not too much, but giving up Otto Porter's 4 years $82 million deal was absurd. Otto Porter not even being that good, and Wendell Carter obviously being on the rise, but having some troubles getting to the rise of his the peak of his career. I think this is a good deal for him. What do you think about the Vucevic deal?
Well, I understand again, kind of both sides. Well, actually, I don't really understand the Magic side to it. You're in the East. You can most likely make the playoffs almost every single year when you have a person like Vucevic on your roster. Who's extremely underrated, by the way. He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
I do think for the Bulls, you're going to have to get rid of Lauri Markkanen now. I don't see how Lauri Markkanen and Vucevic could work on the same floor defensively because they are both bad when it comes to defense. And your power forward and center would both be horrible defenders. Yeah. But I think the Bulls need to get rid of Lauri Markkanen. But for them to have Zach LaVine, Cody White, Vucevic, all them in the East, it makes them probably a top 5 contender in the East. Obviously I don't think they're on the same par as like the Bucks or the Nets or even the Knicks.
Yeah.
But they're up there.
Yeah. What sucks for them though, losing on Wendell Carter, that was their main defensive block.
Their defense does take a step back.
Yeah, their defense does go down as their offense does excel, which is good. Now, and the next trade I'm doing is a little bit of an underrated trade, but I think this is a great deal for the Boston Celtics. Celtics receive Evan Fournier for Jeff Teague and 2 second-round picks. Evan Fournier, probably one of the underrated 3-point shooters in the league with one of the good one of those good strokes who can shoot the ball very well. I think him going to the Magic, going to the Celtics, I don't see the reason of how it helped them because the Celtics have been underperforming a lot this season, and I don't know why they've been underperforming. I think they honestly should have traded for a big man like Andre Drummond, or could have gotten Andre Drummond. They've really been lacking. I believe they're sitting at seventh in the East, being from going from seven to third. I think that's really that's a bit downplay on the season. What are your thoughts on getting a shooter basically on their team?
I think it's good for spacing the floor. I mean, you already have you already have Brown, you already have Tatum. I mean, you already have two stars on your team.
Mm,
I think it's good to always have that player who can just play on the outside because Evan Fournier in Orlando was primarily a ball handler. He's not going to handle the ball a ton in
no,
Boston.
no.
It's probably going to be in Tatum or Brown's hands.
And we're forgetting Kemba Walker plays there too.
What do you say?
Kemba Walker plays there too, and we haven't
Yeah, exactly. I
talked
think
about him.
Evan Fournier is most likely going to play more of the two. The issue is how, or he may just come off the bench because you have to get some sort of big man, whether they draft them or they sign one or whatever. You have to get some sort of big man on that floor because if you think about it, Kimba, Evan Fournier, Tatum, and Brown are all pretty lackluster defensively.
Mhm.
So you have to get some sort of defense. Their offense now is phenomenal, but if they could just get someone at the five, or multiple people at the 5 and 4, I think it could help a ton to be a playoff or championship contender.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I mean, they need they're yes, they have the pieces to do it, but defensively they need to find something on that rhythm because we all know that Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, all those guys they're not very defensive guys. We know them as offensive performers, which is a shame. But hopefully the Celtics can find their rhythm. Next trade is between the Pelicans and the Mavericks. As Dallas receives JJ Redick and Nico Melli, who goes to Dallas, and New Orleans receives James Johnson and Weiss and dude, I can't pronounce this dude's name, but they get Weiss and a second round pick. This is great for Dallas. They were missing a shooter, and yes, they have Luka Doncic, but they don't have kind of like how we were talking about Evan Fournier. They don't have like that guy who can space the floor. They have obviously, they have Tim Hardaway Jr. They have Luka Doncic. They have Kristaps Porzingis. They have Willie Cauley-Stein. They have all these great guys on their team, but they don't have anyone that could I need like Klay Thompson, let's say I need someone on to pull up for three, or I need someone to just get open.
Well, I wouldn't say Berea's on Klay Thompson's level, but
Well, no, obviously, but JJ Redick though being a great guy to.
no, sorry.
Yeah, I was wondering why you said Berea, but
Sorry, yeah, I was thinking Berea for some reason.
yeah, no, but bringing in JJ Redick is going to help really space the floor and really help really just help the Mavs kind of excel into that team that they need to become to win and be at the win now situation. They're right now, I believe, sitting at 7 in the West, and hopefully they can improve to get to the top seed, which I believe they have the potential to be. So the last trade I do want to go into before we end off this video, because this is maybe the last two trades we're going to do. Clippers and Hawks. The Clippers receive Rajon Rondo, and the Atlanta Hawks get Lou Williams and 2 second-round picks.
I saw, because I remember I don't remember what time it was. I was sitting, I think I was laying down or something, and I looked at my phone, so I got an ESPN notification, and I just read it, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I like Rondo, but Lou Williams has been with the Clippers for a long time, and he's been very, very. Unless I'm mistaken, he was averaging like 22 points last year off the bench. I don't understand that. I guess you're trying to get a better primary ball handler around Kawhi and Paul George. I guess that's the move.
Yeah.
But I feel like Lou Williams is better than Rondo, and then you also gave up an additional 2 second-round picks. So I feel like the Clippers absolutely lost this trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, they did lose this trade, but at the end of the day, I think when it came down to was getting a playmaker, and they never really had a playmaker. They have Pat Beverly starting at point guard, and he's not a playmaker. He's a defensive machine who can get you steals, who can get you blocks as a point guard being like 6'2", 6'3", but getting Rajon Rondo, I guess, as a playmaker, I guess they saw that as a win. Now, giving up a top scorer like Lou Williams to an Atlanta Hawks team who's very young, that's not too bad. You have to look at both sides of it. I think Los Angeles did win the trade in their mind, but they did give up. I think you could have given up Patrick Beverly in 2 seconds to get Rajon Rondo. You didn't have to.
Yeah, I understand. I understand why they went and got Rondo. I'm saying I don't understand why you would give up that much for Rondo.
I agree. Now, the last trade that we're going to be discussing today is Nuggets and Magic. Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark go to the Denver Nuggets for RJ Hampton, Gary Harris, and a first-round pick to Orlando. I like this deal a lot for Denver, but I believe Denver shouldn't have given up RJ Hampton, who is very young. Gary Harris, obviously, yeah, give him up because Gary Harris has not lived up to his potential. RJ Hampton, still even a rookie, hasn't even had a full year to show the type of player he is. Now he's going to Orlando, and he has to go split minutes with Cole Anthony, who's been a monster for Orlando this year. I don't really see the reasoning of getting RJ Hampton down there, but that's just me personally. So what are your thoughts on this deal?
I think Denver did great on this. You got Aaron Gordon. I think what the reason for this was is because the Nets. Say you do beat the Lakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to they're going to make the playoffs. The Nuggets are most likely going to make the playoffs, right? I mean, Jokic has been on a tear this year.
Yeah.
You go to the playoffs. Say you get to the finals. You need more star power because you're most likely going against the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
You need star power. Now you have Jamal Murray. Sure, you lost Gary Harris, but you got Jamal Murray, Jokic, and now Aaron Gordon,
Mm-hmm.
who, since he's been on the Magic, people don't watch him that much other than dunk contests, but he's a very good player. He can really do everything. I think it's phenomenal. I think it does help their defense a little bit too. He's not a phenomenal defender, but Jokic is very lackluster when it comes to defense in the paint. So I think having a big body with high vertical jump in the paint is good for them.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, I think 100% Orlando, Denver won this deal. Now, why Orlando is blowing up their team when they are? I mean, I'll say this: they made the 8th seed. What, like last 2-3 years in a row, they were an 8th seed.
Yeah.
Again, that's not bad to be an 8th seed. Like you're still making the playoffs. They're giving just keep building up from what they have. Now, why they went out and just blew up their whole team in mid-season? Just I don't understand it.
My guess is they knew their team wasn't good enough to win to beat the Nets, and so they're like, okay. They had some bad contracts in there. They decided it was probably better to blow up their whole team and just try to start over, try to draft some stars, try to sign some people, rather than trying to get maybe because you had some bad contracts wrapped up in there as well in Orlando. So I think the plan is that it was easier just to blow it up and try to start with younger pieces than try to potentially try to get some lucky star in the draft or something and then go to the finals.
Yeah, that is true. That is really true. Well, yeah, that's gonna be it for today's episode. If you guys want more NBA content that me and Dylan will be spitting out for you, we're gonna probably start more posting NBA until playoffs come around. We're gonna give our own playoff predictions and all that, and we're gonna obviously when Andre Drummond signs, we're gonna make the video on that too, me and Dylan as well. So thank you guys for watching today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.